And we're live. What's going on, crew? Give me a quick hashtag replay if you're watching. Here we go. Hashtag replay in the comments if you're watching the replay. And I cannot wait for us to jump into our topic about how the heck to make life easier with diabetes, specifically insulin-dependent diabetes. But it actually does apply across the board today without changing what you eat. Because there's some good food out there. Don't want you guys missing out on it. So we're going to jump in there real quick. Get some water. Check the blood sugars. I got a whole story on my blood sugars today. Yep, we're gonna add some insulin too. Live on camera, taking insulin, and I'll tell you why. I had some high blood sugars and did not cooperate. And it turns out it was human error. Let me go ahead and make sure that's connecting. Cool. So high blood sugars after lunch. All right. Now these blood sugars. I want to say they caught me by surprise, but they didn't. I knew to expect them. It happens every once in a while. I had turned off my insulin pump coming out of a workout and of a shower because I thought that I was going to go low. And I was like, you know what, I'll just turn it off and jump into this meeting real quick. Well, that meeting that was supposed to be real quick ended up going a bit longer than I had planned. Stephanie in the comments, what's going on, Stephanie? And so hopefully I should probably check on and see if we are, in fact, good to go. Drop a 1 in the comments if you guys can hear me real quick. And maybe that's why we're getting comments already. Let me know, number 1 in the comments, if you can hear me. And there is my pump beeping, letting me know that it's completed its bolus. So 1 in the comments real quick. Let me know that we are, in fact, good to go. We got a 1. All right, cool. So high blood sugar, post-lunch. Had this meeting where I turned my pump off. Expected it to be like a 15-minute meeting. I'd turn my pump back on and hop back into lunch, right? Unfortunately, well, also fortunately, because it was a really good meeting, that meeting went for about 45 minutes. And my pump was off the whole time. And of course, I jumped into lunch, gave the insulin that I thought I needed. And sure enough, about an hour later, blood sugars took off. Started to go a little bit higher than I would have appreciated. So I gave some extra insulin and hopped into my computer to do some work, talking about diabetes with some of my clients. And then it keeps going higher, even with the extra insulin. So I actually just got back from a little walk, and it was ridiculously hot today. So I hopped out there for quick walks. Did stop the rise, but it didn't come down as much as I was hoping. So hence the delivered bolus just now. So what we're looking at now is that I got a high blood sugar that needed extra insulin because I missed my basal. There's a whole calculation for that. Ended up continuing to go higher. Led me into going for a walk because I had an arrow up. Okay. It was going into a bad spot. So as a result, took some insulin, drank some water, went for a walk, all the stuff I teach you guys how to do, right? And it did stop the curve, or stop the rise, turn into a curve, came back down and dropped about 50 points so far. So excited about that, but still not quite as far as I would have liked it to drop, which is why I gave that insulin. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about today was the transition from sitting at my desk in a nice air-conditioned environment to walking outside where oh my goodness, it felt like a wall of heat. It felt like I was walking into a fireplace. It was crazy. I opened the door, I step outside, and poof, oh my gosh, this is boiling hot. My guess is that it was like 106, right? So I put on a podcast in my ears. I'm walking through and just trying to find something to be grateful for, because sometimes higher blood sugars can make us a bit frustrated, right, with life. And so as I'm going on my walk through this podcast, I just hit play, didn't even look. Turns out, and I actually listened to a podcast that was made by my mentors, by my coaches. So I actually pay people to teach me how to grow, be a better person, and just do better in life, really. And this podcast that they had put on was about gratitude and being happy. I was like, oh, how fitting. Okay, fine. I'll try to be happy about this. So I put a smile on my face, continued walking when I thought was 106 degrees. I opened up my phone to check because I was like, I got to screenshot this record-breaking heat that I am clearly pushing myself through. And it's 85. I was like, hold on. There is no way that is correct, right? I'm sweating bullets. How is it 85 and it feels like 106? And I realized something interesting. It wasn't that the outside was that scorching hot, because I realized other parts of the world, even the parts of the country, are actually 106, 115, right? Like it gets really hot some places. But what had forced me into this perspective, or rather led me into this perspective, we're not forced to think anything, right? We choose how we think. But what led me into this perspective of the outside being scorchingly hot was actually my existing environment inside the air conditioned room. So as I transitioned from air conditioned, 75, 78, somewhere in there, to going outside where it's 85, it's like 10 degrees hotter. Not that big of a deal, right? But that transition made me believe that it was so much more difficult, like so much more hot, to the point where I did turn back around and I almost just went back inside. And like, you know what? High blood sugars suck, but whatever. I'm just going to deal with it because it's too hot, right? But I decided to push through. It's like, you know what? Do hard things. It's one of the things that I like to tell myself, do hard things. And so I'm going on this walk to help fix my blood sugars. And I want to make sure they were in a better spot for this talk so that I didn't feel nauseous if it continued to rise, right? And so as I'm going for my walk, I turned the first corner in the neighborhood that we're living in. And I was like, you know what? It's not terrible. It's still warm. It's uncomfortable, but it's not horrendous. I get down further the block, still listening to that podcast about gratitude and positivity and happiness, right? How to lead a fulfilling life. I turn the second corner and I start to forget how hot it is. I'm just looking around, kind of admiring front yards and landscapes. And, for those of you who don't know, we bought a house recently and I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the yard. It's just a dirt lot right now. And so I'm like, what plants could I put in there? Right. And I'm starting to shift my perspective. And all of a sudden, life isn't so terrible. It's not the end of the world anymore. And I turn another corner, continue listening to the podcast. I'm learning some new stuff about how to find happiness. And hey, this is a pretty good episode, right? I turn another corner. I start focusing on my blood sugars. I'm like, okay, what are they doing? Hey, the blood sugars stopped rising. They're leveling off. Awesome. I turn another corner. I'm walking back towards my house. And as I'm walking up the driveway, I'm like, you know what? It's not that hot. It's actually not that bad, right? And then I get back into the house and I'm like, whoa, this feels good. Air conditioning. Holy cow. What was I thinking? Not that bad. This is not that bad, right? Being inside the air conditioning feels amazing. And what I realized is a couple different lessons that we could pull from this one, but we're going to stick with one for this training today. With this experience that I had going from, nice and cozy to stepping outside into this uncomfortable world of scorching heat. It felt like I was walking on the surface of the sun. It was ridiculous. And then after walking that route for long enough, distracting myself with the podcast at first initially, but realizing it wasn't that hot. It was hot in comparison to what I had been experiencing before. And with diabetes, but with self-growth, with relationships, with any level of growth in any area of our lives, that first step is wildly uncomfortable. See, that first step for most of us of doing hard things, that phrase that I love to tell myself, is really difficult. The first time that you decide you're going to count your carbs, was that a fun experience? Probably not. Probably didn't know how to do it correctly, right? You look at nutritional labels and you're like, what is all this math that I have to do now, right? I have to do math when I eat food. And the first time you're looking at pre-bolusing, you're like, well, they said 10 to 15 minutes for pre-bolusing. Is it 10 or is it 15? And someone else is like, no, it's 30. And someone else is like, I don't pre-bolus at all. And you're like, what am I supposed to do here? Right? And so when we start going down this path of self-improvement within our diabetes management, it's hard. It's hard work. There's no denying that, right? It's like me stepping out into the sun. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I really want to do this? I kind of want to just give up and go back inside. I want to go back to my comfort zone, right? And with diabetes, there's this whole trend of falling into a comfort zone, of doing things that are going to make life easier with diabetes by restricting ourselves, right? Oftentimes, one of the first pieces of advice we get is to restrict our lifestyle, whether it's the foods that we eat, the activities we participate in. They tell us not to expect a whole lot out of life. And we fall into this comfort zone of the air-conditioned room, right? Of like, it kind of sucks out there. If I were to try to really dig in and figure this thing out, I'm just going to sit back and relax a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and just chill, And after you realize what the outside holds, that first step, if you're able to push through that wall of heat, that difficult moment, that do hard stuff kind of perspective, all of a sudden it starts to feel like it's not that hard. You start counting carbs, it develops into a habit. You start pre-bolusing it, it becomes a non-negotiable of, oh yeah, if I want to eat food, I have to take my insulin a little bit early, right? And you start to snowball into this momentum that's, from yourself. And over time, you look back and you realize, well, that moment that I stepped outside of the front door when I thought it was super hot, actually wasn't that hot. Turns out I'm actually pretty good at this diabetes thing, right? Turns out I can survive and I also have the potential to thrive. And as you continue down the diabetes path, I talk to my clients going through our programs, even this last week, some of the higher level clients that I work with personally, walking me through these incredible accomplishments. And we had a client who updated me that in the last 6 weeks took their A1C from a 6.7 to a 6 in 6 weeks. I don't know if you guys know this, but the A1C is a 3-month average. The fact that they were able to bring it down that rapidly without roller coaster blood sugars, right, shows that you get this momentum and it starts helping you to build more progress on top of more progress. It's absolutely incredible. But that first step, guarantee you, was uncomfortable. That first step for all of us, when we compare the outside versus the inside, is like this moment of truth of, do I actually want to take care of this thing? Like, this is kind of hard. I don't know if I like this. Counting carbs, what if I just continue to live in ignorance? It can't be that much better. But after you start to count your carbs, you see that consistent blood sugar afterwards because you took the right amount of insulin. After you start pre-bolusing the proper amount, which, by the way, will change person to person and meal. Okay, it's going to change based on the situation itself. But as you start to figure these things out, yes, it's hard at first, building new habits, learning new strategies. But when you start to build those things together, you're going to look back and go, it's not that bad, right? I'm getting used to it. I'm starting to develop these habits in my life that are serving me and allowing me to become the best version of myself. All right. So what I want you to take away from today's lesson is, first of all, it's hot outside, but it's probably not as hot as we think it is when we first walk outside, if you got air conditioning, at least. But really, that if you want to accomplish big things, you're going to have to take the first step, which is uncomfortable. Doing hard things is a difficult thing. So most people don't do hard things. But I heard this great phrase that I think would benefit a lot of you in here. It certainly has benefited me. And that is that if you want if you want an easy life, you have to do hard things. And if you want a hard life, you have to do easy things. So if you do easy things, life is hard. I got to make sure I'm phrasing this the right way. If your day-to-day looks like you choosing the easy options, life is going to be hard down the road. If your day-to-day is you choosing the hard options, doing the hard work, your long-term life is going to be easier, right? So you do have to put that work in initially, but it does steamroll it snowballs into an easier life down the road. So if you put the work in now with your diabetes, right, you learn about all the different pieces of the puzzle to see, how do I get to control blood sugars during my activities? If I wanted to play sports, if I want to eat different types of foods, how does that change? Do I know my exact basal bolus correction ratios? Do I have all of these things tied down? And will that yield a better, easier, more fulfilled life down the road because I put the work in now? Does that make sense so far? Stephanie says, yes. I love it. Let's go through the comments real quick. I haven't checked in with you guys. We got lots of ones. Awesome. Stephanie says, I had a high all day yesterday because I totally forgot to take my basal and didn't forget today. Good job not forgetting today. Happy to hear that. I've certainly made that mistake before. Stephanie says, yes, again, blazing. Sun in Texas is evil right now. I'm sure. With the humidity, I'm sure. Someone says, that's amazing. And so let me try that again. The sun and humidity in Indiana is terrible this summer. Oh, boy. I just want to live a full life, and I'll do whatever it takes to stay on top for myself and family. Love that, Stephanie. That is fantastic. So real quick, I want you guys to look at what you're going through in life right now, whether it's hard or easy, and where can we make a step towards the better version of ourselves. And I'm going to give you guys a couple examples. So for me, one of my goals is to become my healthiest version of myself. And actually, believe it or not, type 1 diabetes has helped me to get closer to that goal. It's because of type 1 that I'm actually aware of what I put in my mouth. I used to just snack mindlessly, M&Ms, chips, banana bread, didn't care. Just all night long, snacking. Now I'm aware of that, and it's enabled me to learn more about nutrition. As I studied in that realm, to learn more about fitness as I studied in that realm, and put these pieces together, right? So when we're looking at where we want to become the better versions of ourselves, I decided to adopt that whole phrase that I've been sharing with you multiple times here, which is do hard things, right? Do hard things. The more difficult things we put ourselves through, by comparison, we look back and go, oh, that first thing I did that I thought was hard actually wasn't that hard. The thing that I'm doing now is hard. And then a year from now, you can look back at now and go, yeah, that wasn't that hard, right? We build on top of things. And an example of hard things, especially things that you can manufacture in your life and input. Example would be eat healthier, more fruits, more vegetables. For most people, that's hard, to start putting away the desserts, the processed foods, all the junk food that you're going to be eating, right? A second example, this one was tough for me, is I decided out of nowhere to start taking cold showers in the morning. So I'd wake up, brush my teeth, and go straight to a cold shower. Sit there, and I would do breathing exercises in the shower to get control over my body, over my, a lot of mindset pieces as well. But looking at the health components to a cold shower, starting your day there. And for me, day 1 sucked. Day 2 sucked. Day 3 sucked, but not as bad. Day 4, not that bad. Day 5, okay, I think I can do this, right? Day 6, 7, 8, and I did that for 6 months straight, every single day. And I looked back at day 1 where there was so much friction, so much resistance to taking a single cold shower. And at that point, it had become so much of a habit that I laughed at that. I was like, really? I was complaining about a cold shower? Come on, like this is just what I do now. Look back at the beginning of your life with diabetes. On day 1, taking a shot was probably difficult, right? And now look at you. Look at us. We're taking shots multiple times a day, pricking fingers, some of us. I pricked my finger today because my CGM was a little wonky. We're doing things that we used to think were really difficult, right? We're growing, but that first step is uncomfortable. That's how it is. But if you can break past that first step, walk into the heat, get used to it, it's not going to feel that bad anymore. You're going to adapt. And that's one of the superpowers that we have as humans, is to adapt and to change our perspective of a situation. All right, so this one's kind of turned into more of a mindset lesson. I realize that, but I want you to look around for what are some hard things that you're not doing that you can choose to do. And I guarantee if you start lining up some hard things to do day after day, they're going to get easier. It's going to get simpler. And if these things surround diabetes, maybe there's some habits that you need to introduce. Maybe you need to start counting carbs. Maybe you need to start pre-bolusing. Maybe you start tracking blood sugar trends and patterns so you can identify where changes can be made. Start doing hard things. I guarantee you your life will change for the better. Choose to do those hard things. Improve yourself, and it will get easier. You're going to look back and go, man, that was not as bad as I thought it was, right? And every time you look back, you'll see how far you've grown. It will motivate you to grow further, and you continue the process to look back, see how far you've grown, push harder. Do hard things. Step into the heat. Step into the uncomfortable nature of growth. That is what we want to do. That's one of the biggest pieces of diabetes that's encouraging us to become the better versions of ourselves, because as we grow, we gain more control over our blood sugar, which enables us to gain more freedom in our lives. So what I've noticed over the years is that the more understanding I've developed about blood sugars, right? And of course, I've spent years researching these topics, and I coach people on how to do that now. But because of that, I have this understanding of how diabetes works, and it lets me be more present in the moment. In fact, you may have seen me post a video today in this group about me dressing up as Batman for my nephews and my daughter, because they are huge fans, and I used to be a huge fan, so I had a head-to-toe costume, and this costume required that I stuffed my insulin pump on the inside. Could not get to it. I had to put my phone aside because my hands had to be free, so I could take pictures with the kids and stuff. And because I knew what my blood sugars were going to do, because I have that level of control, and I've taken those uncomfortable, difficult moments to learn more about my blood sugars, I was able to enter that present. I was able to enjoy that moment with the kids, running around for, 30, 45 minutes, just hanging out, not worrying if I was going to go low. Yes, I had insulin on board. Yes, blood sugars were in a good range. They weren't high, Easily could have dropped if I didn't know what I was doing. But when you learn about your diabetes, when you do hard things, life tends to get easier over time. It smooths out. So do hard things now so life gets easier later. Does that make sense? We're drilling this one in. I hope this is making sense. Chris says, makes me feel more in control of my diabetes. Thank you, Matt. That was great. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I made work. Makes me feel more in control of my diabetes. Got it. We got so right. Stephanie says yes. That was an old one. Got it. Indeed. Cool. So let me know if this is making sense. You know what? Let's type in do hard things. If you're going to commit to doing hard things, I want to see who is ready to do one hard thing this week. It could be a cold shower. It could be eating broccoli. It's just a whole wide variety of what's difficult for each person, right? Or what counts as being difficult. You don't have to go jump into, an ice bath on day one. That's something that I chose to do. There's a lot of health benefits behind it, so that's why I wanted to try it, right? But it could be going for a walk outside when it's hot. Don't do anything that's dangerous. I want to make sure I really hone in on that point. I am not encouraging you to put your life in danger, but look at what are some hard things for you mentally. Where are the mental blocks? Where do I not want to do something? Maybe it's counting carbs. Maybe it's telling someone that you have diabetes, right? Maybe it's wearing your devices in the open. Interesting. So if you're going to commit to doing something, you don't have to share what that is. That's for you to commit to. Bonus points if you tell a friend or a family member, but comment, do hard things if you're committing to doing one new thing, one difficult thing this week. I want you guys to commit to that. Hold yourselves to that standard. Obviously, I don't know what it is that you're choosing, so it is on you to complete that. But I want you guys to know that if you do hard things up front, life gets easier later. I've seen it happen time and time again. My clients are living proof of that. They put in hard work, and I want to drill this point home. They put in hard work. Like, it's intense working with me, but as a result, they see great results. They do great things, and they get to live that easier life in the end, right? So I hope you guys found this one useful, and I see a lot of people doing the comments. I love it. I'm gonna get some names in here. Let's see who we got. All right, we got Chris says do hard things. Bill, do hard things. Barbara, do hard things. Margie, do hard things. I love it. All right, cool. I'll hold you guys to that. So today's Thursday. You have 1 week. Do something difficult. Challenge yourselves. This is the whole point of what we're doing in here, is to become better versions of ourselves. And a lot of that has to do with diabetes, right? I recognize that because diabetes has its fingers in a lot of areas of our lives. That's why we put a lot of focus on getting blood sugars under control, so you can set it aside and focus more on the important things in life, like enjoying family, friends, living a fulfilled life. But let's start with doing some hard things, whether it's diabetes related or not. You have 1 week. Can't wait to hear about it next week on the live. You guys have to let me know if you did it, and you can say challenge complete next week on that live if you guys end up doing it. So that's all I got for you guys today. And I know you guys get questions about my clients and what they're up to these days. I do write about that in our newsletter, oftentimes to share bits and pieces of what's going on. But if you're somebody who wants to get more info on what it's actually like to work with us and to do that hard work consistently so you can get to the easier phase of diabetes, go ahead and drop the word coach, and we'll get you some more info on what that looks like, see if that would be a good fit for you. All right, so that's all I got for you guys today. Go do hard things. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And when you do that hard thing, I want you to celebrate. Congratulate yourself. Do something fun as a result. All right? Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you next week, Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And as always, keep up the fight. I'll see you guys later.